and then go back to OBS. You're good. You're live.
Hey friends, Jonna here with Disney Magical Monday Traveler, Magic something or another. I don't know. I've got my dog in here with me, my big dog. Come here, Chloe. She's throwing me off. And she's, come here, Chloe. Come here. Come here. She's really shy. Wanted you to see her. Anyway, I'm Jonna, and I'm here with Jonna's Magic Mondays. I'm forgetting what I'm here for. But anyway, we're here on this cold, snowy night, and I hope that you are joining me. And if you're catch me on the rebroadcast, that's fine. Just if you would click, share, tag a friend, someone that you know would enjoy just a little girl chat tonight about Disney. Then this is the time to tag
Just
them.
girls?
Well, guys can come too. Prince Charming's here helping me, so yeah, you guys can jump on too. It's mostly the girls that are on here. Oh, by the way, did you bring your warm drink? So I got Russian tea tonight. I don't know what you're drinking. I had mentioned for you to bring your warm drink. Post and tell me what you're drinking there at your house. If it's something warm and to keep you warm tonight. Tell me all about it. My cup here, you see my new cool cup? I have 4 of these with different Santas on the front. They're commemorative Santa cups from the Coca-Cola Company. I've had these for years, but I only get them out at Christmas time, of course, because of the Santas. But everything tastes better when you have a pretty cup. So anyway, if you don't have a pretty cup, make sure you put your nice warm drink in that. It just tastes better. I don't know why, but it does. So anyway, we're so glad you're here with us tonight. We are going to be talking about, we're going to start a series specifically on resorts. And we're going to have to break it up into a few different episodes, but we're going to start on this tonight. But before we do that, tell me what you all have been doing during the snowpocalypse. Here's my daughter Julie with a friend of hers. They were out enjoying the snow yesterday, and so we've been just hunkered down here on top of our hill here at Magical Traveler Central here, just keeping warm and drinking our hot drinks and getting caught up on some gameplay and Netflix watching and all that fun stuff. But anybody, and let me know what you did. Go ahead and post. Tell me what you've been doing during these cold winter days and nights. To enjoy the snow. I know some of you all aren't big snow fans out there. I love snow, especially this time of year. It's it's nice right before Christmas. I love it. I like being inside during it. I like to go out if I have to, but I like to have appropriate clothes on, everything like that. But who do we got?
Sarah's on.
Hey,
she said
Sarah.
she's been cooking, playing games, and playing in the snow.
Awesome.
And there's still half of them are still playing.
They're still playing. Yes, it's so fun at nighttime to be out there. And I've been seeing your pictures of your sweet little baby girl out there enjoying the snow and enjoying the family time together. Those are sweet and precious memories that you're building. So that's really awesome. Anyway, well, let's just jump right into our series tonight. Like I said, we're starting with, I'm going just really kind of zeroing in on the Disney resorts. And you'll hear me say a lot of times when I'm doing my lives, I'll say something like on property. And what I mean by on property is Disney properties. When you stay at a Disney resort, you get some perks. Of course, there's lots of accommodations in Orlando, and they know that, and they want you to spend all your dollars with them. And so they throw in some sweet little bennies to get you to do that. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Disney breaks up, well, first let's talk about the benefits of staying on property in a Disney resort. There's lots of them. Free transportation from the airport to your resort if you happen to be flying into Orlando. It's called the Disney's Magical Express, and it's a very, very nice big like tour bus, and it has it's just very, very nice. As soon as you hit the airport, as soon as you get in there, you feel like you start getting that Disney magic, because there's people there that meet you at the airport and take care of your luggage and take care of you, make sure you get to your correct destination. That's a nice little perk, especially for flying in. Free magic bands. I've got to be honest with you. I didn't even realize that you had to pay for your magic band if you were not staying on property. And I didn't even know that. I think a magic band starts at around $13 or something like that, and they go up from there. You can spend a whole lot more on your magic bands. But if you're staying at a Disney resort, that magic band is free. So that's a great advantage. And Magic Band has lots of advantages to it. It becomes kind of your keys to the kingdom. It can be you can put your credit card information on it, so you can do all your room charges on it. You can charge while you're in the parks. You can enter into your room using your room band, your Magic Band. It has your keys to your room on it. It can just be something to make your vacation really seamless and hassle-free is that Magic Band. And by staying at a Disney resort, you get those for free. Free parking and complimentary transportation between resorts and parks. That's a huge one when you're talking about. I'm thinking again. I haven't paid for parking at a resort at a park lately, but I'm thinking it's every bit of perhaps $25 a day or something like that. Do you remember it exactly? Because we haven't paid for parking, but it can become very, very pricey. So you need to factor those numbers in when you're looking at off-property resorts.
$20 per day.
$20 a day. Okay. Now, there are times that you might want to stay off property. We'll talk about those at another time. But that is something you need to factor in when you're thinking about what your prices that you're looking at, so that you can compare apples to apples and all like that. Now, the Disney dining plan, especially for you first-time visitors, I highly recommend Disney dining. I don't always buy a Disney dining package when I go down, but sometimes we do, and it just depends on your group and your situation and that kind of thing. Well, that is only available to folks who are staying at a Disney property or are participating. There's a few participating resorts off property, but they're few in number, and there's restrictions upon that. So that's something to think about. Extra magic hours. These are things that the park is available to you either before the park opens or after the park opens, simply by staying at a Disney resort. Resort charging privileges. It's just convenient to be able to, you buy a meal somewhere or whatever, and you don't necessarily need to bring certainly cash or your cards or whatever, just to know that you can do that with your Magic Band. This is something that I love, and I use it quite a bit, but I'm surprised at how many people don't use it. And it's resort package delivery. That is, if you purchase something, even if it's something small, and you're in a park and you buy a little souvenir or whatever, or you buy a big souvenir, they will deliver that souvenir. If you ask, they'll deliver that souvenir to your resort for you to pick it up. Now, there's restrictions. You can't do it like the last day you're there and things like that. But think about it. If you're going to be in Magic Kingdom all day long, and little Susie ends up buying a big old Mickey Mouse thing, do you really want to lug that around the park all day long? No, you don't. You want to send that back to your room and pick it up later in your stay, and not deal with it. That's just a nice little thing that you don't have access to if you're not staying with a Disney on Disney property. Fast pass reservations at 60 days out. That is reserving your place in line on a lot of these really popular rides. You get to jump the line a little bit on that and do that before other people if you're staying on property. And then something that's a little more esoteric, that is just something about getting that theming and backstory. When you go to Disney World, and again, I've said this before, you're spending so much money. There's something about it reminds me I don't know if many of you are old enough to remember the program Fantasy Island. Chloe is wanting to get into my tea. Hey, Chloe, say hey. Can everybody see you? I'm going to stood it down here a little bit. See Chloe? That's Chloe. She's our Great Pyrenees. She thinks she's about 5 pounds. And she's like a little pony, actually, but she's so sweet. But anyway, if you, I've lost my train of thought. Oh, theming and backstory. Imagine kind of like on Fantasy Island. Remember the theme of Fantasy Island? The idea was you would go to Fantasy Island, and as soon as you got there, you would be enveloped into the story, and you kind of stayed with the story. You became part of the story all the way till when you left. And you get that feeling a lot when you go to a Disney resort. The cast members, which is what Disney calls their employees, they understand the importance of storytelling, and they understand how that touches people when you're telling a story, which is what all that Disney is. It's all about the story. So as soon as you step on the property, you just are enveloped by this sense of wonder and magic, and it just adds so much to your vacation, especially if you fly in. And you notice that when you go back to the airport and you get off the Magical Express and you get into the airport, all of a sudden reality hits you in the face. Like, oh, I'm not in Disney World anymore. But anyway, so that's just to me just a really important part of the whole experience. So,
like, share, and post.
Yes, please like, share, and post. Even if you're catching this on the replay, which I know most of you do, if you would like and share this, and then post it, tag a friend, anyone who thinks all of you who are planning, and who's not planning a Disney World vacation next year. Now's the time to be thinking about it. So that's where we're starting right now. We're starting with these resorts, and we're just think of this as time that we're going ahead and planning your vacation. We're working on this together, and I want to continue this relationship with you. And this is all free, and all of my services to you in the process is paid by Disney. So take advantage of that freebie that you get from Disney, which I've talked about before. You don't get many freebies at Disney World. Well, this is one of them. So I hope you take full advantage of that. And also you can tag me in a message or go to our website, which is we're so proud of, www.disneytravelcoach.com, and shoot us a message through there, and we'd be happy to talk to you more about planning your special Disney adventure in 2018. So I want to go back a little bit. This theming and backstory also leads me a little bit to my Disney 101, which is a time when each week I just have a little nugget of basic Disney knowledge that's important to know, that also usually applies to the rest of your life as well. And that is, I would think, is when you are planning out your vacation. Like I said before, with the charges for parking and whatnot, you need to make sure to build in all those things that you're getting that you would have to pay for otherwise. You'll go to, say you go to an XYZ hotel, and man, they are giving you a great offer, just almost too good to be true. But then sometimes you get into it and you realize, yeah, but I'm not getting this, and I'm having to pay extra for that, and this isn't exactly what I was expecting. That is also true in the rest of your life. Be sure that the price tag that you see on something, whether that's something real or something that you're just paying for through the choices that you make in your life, that all the hidden costs are built in. So many things that we take for granted, but there's actually a cost to them, and we or someone that we love pays for those things. So I won't preach too much on that, because I don't want to get too much off course on that. But that is true at Disney World. There are some great deals that you can find off property. We have stayed and do stay off property occasionally, but you have to realize that there's also a cost to some of those things too. That is just not. You have to be aware of all those extra little costs. So just something to keep in mind as you're planning your Disney extravaganza fun time with your family next year in 2018 or 2019, excuse me. What am I talking about? We're almost in 2019, just a few more days actually. So anyway, getting back to our resorts that I said we were talking about. Now Disney breaks up their resorts into 4 categories. They're what they call their value resorts, moderate resorts, deluxe, and deluxe villas. And I imagine you can tell just by the titles something important like price and the breakdown of that. Their value resorts, which is the main thing we're going to focus on tonight, are their starter resorts, and they're all wonderful. You still get all the perks and privileges at the parks are all the same, whether you stay in a value resort, moderate resort, deluxe, or deluxe villa. You get all those perks that I had mentioned earlier, no matter where you stay at. So now you're talking about, well, what are you getting in exchange for that? And what type of vacation do you want to stay at? And I will be honest with you, there are advantages and disadvantages to staying at all of these different levels of resorts. You just simply have to, it just depends on your situation in life at the time. I've stayed in each types of these, and there certain things of them are just great in each one. It's just what you got to know. And there's more than 25 property options that are considered Disney properties. So there's lots to choose from that would fit any budget and any type of group that you're with, type of family that you have, whether you have small children or you have older children, or you're going with your grandma and grandpa or whatever. So tonight we're going to start with the value resorts. And there's 6 in that section. There's All-Star Movies, All-Star Music, All-Star Sports, Disney's Art of Animation, Disney's Pop Century Resort, and the campsites at Disney's Fort Wilderness Resort. Now, we're going to tonight just talk about the All-Star offerings, which are 3, and then Pop Century. So tonight we're just going to talk about 4 of those ones that I mentioned. The other 2 we're going to hold off on those for a different broadcast. But starting with those ones, let's go first to All-Star Movies. So All-Star Movies is based all around Disney movies and Disney themes. And I don't know if you can, from these pictures you should be able to make out, there's their pool, to make out a little bit of what the feel of that Disney value resort is. Look at that big Dalmatian. I mean, just larger than life theming all throughout this particular resort. There's the Jungle Book pieces. There's Mowgli and Blue, I think is his name. I can't remember. And then there's Andy's room. This whole section here is set up like Andy's room in Toy Story. And then, of course, back to the pool there, the Fantasia pool, which is beautiful. This particular property, I'm going to let this roll through one more picture too. This particular property was built in 1994. Actually, I believe all of the All-Stars were built in 1994. So they're not brand new, to say the least. I want to start at Andy's room. Do you see the soldiers, the green soldiers up on top of the roofs? It's just so cute. This one has been is the front end of these All-Stars as far as getting a facelift. All-Star Movies, I believe, will be done, I want to say in February of 2019, their renovation. I believe it's 2019, or February of this coming year. So this one's getting a facelift. Music and sports also, I believe they've already started on music, and then sports will get a facelift. I believe should be done by 2020. I believe is the workover for all 3 of those. However, they are wonderful options. They are on the lower end of the price range. You can stay there probably for as low as, I've seen it for as low as $95, $100 a night, up to $200 a night or so thereabouts. Kind of gives you a feel for that. And they're great options. The rooms are on the smaller end, but the theming throughout is all about either. For this one, certainly is all about the Disney movies, and they're just beautiful. The rooms are, like I said, are smaller. There are some adjoining rooms. I believe in the renovations, they're making some into suites, so that's kind of a nice touch. It's limited on the space. So, however, if you have small children, you're good to go. especially depending on the type of children you have, which is most kids. Most kids would love to be able to walk through Andy's room every time they go to their room, as opposed to maybe in a nicer room, which is very, very nice. But to be able to just kind of interact with all these big figures, I'm sorry, they're going to love that. So this is a great option. It's a little on the smaller side. And it's not, it's not the fanciest in the world, but it's fun. It's nice. They have and their food court is very, very nice on all three of these. Here's All Star Music. Let's do a little few pictures of that. So All Star Music is, as you would imagine, it's based on music, and they have different sections. They have, there's the pool, the Three Caballeros pool. Just as an aside, this pool right here, honestly, and we'll do a whole unit sometime. And there's the piano pool, which is really cool. I think that's a neat picture, perspective on that pool. Mary Poppins, they have a section on Broadway music as well, and then of course they're promoting Mary Poppins right now. Then they have a jazz section. They also have a rock section, and they have a country music section, which is everything's themed with all these different types of music. Getting back to that pool, that Caballero pool. Of all the pools on Disney property, this is probably in my top, I would say my top 3 to 4 favorite pools, that Three Caballeros pool. It's just so fun. It's beautiful. I love the way it's laid out. All of these resorts have 2 pools apiece. This one, the music one, has the piano pool and then the Three Caballeros. But I'll just throw that in there. That as far as if you're really into pools, then that's a thing you want to consider. And then the last one we've got here is All Star Sports. So, as you would imagine, All Star Sports is themed around different types of sports. I don't know exactly, I can't remember how many different types, but there's lots. I think we've highlighted tennis and football and basketball here, but there's other sport, bowling, just all manner of sports. Here's their pool there at All Star Sports. When they have these, you've probably heard of kids, or maybe your kids have participated, they'll have these sporting events at Disney World. They don't always stay you don't have to stay at All Star Sports, but lots of them do. So you probably have gone, if you've stayed there at any particular time, you might have encountered a group of cheerleaders or volleyball players or whatever, and a lot of the times they'll stay there at All Star Sports. All of the All-Star resorts, movies, music, and sports, have wonderful food courts. That's one thing I love about Disney is you can get a great hamburger in Disney World. You can get a great hot dog in Disney World and all that. But they do not presume that everybody's going to eat hot dogs and hamburgers the whole time they're on vacation. And even in the value resorts, you can get a hamburger and hot dog and whatnot at these. But each food court has really great offerings and healthy offerings if that's something you want to participate in, and gluten-free and all that stuff. They have stuff for you there. Also, in the neat way they've set this up in the All-Star movies, music, and sports, one thing that I love to do when I'm at Disney World, all of the resorts have movies each night around the pool, and it's a great big blow-up thing, and they have a rotating schedule of different Disney movies. So you can lay in the pool or sit around the pool or whatever and just watch a movie, and it's really fun, and all the resorts do this. Well, at the All-Star resorts, the 3 resorts, movies, music, and sports, you can go, and they're kind of close together. So one night you want to hang out the pool at the movies, well, that's great. You can do that and then watch the movie there. Next night, you want to move over to music and enjoy the pool there, and then watch their movie. You can do that. Then the next night, you can go over to sports, same thing. It's just really fun. Another thing that they do, and we'll talk about that, I guess that's a good transition, a good segue into the next one that we're going to talk about, is called Pop Century. Pop Century is a value resort, which happens to be Prince Charming's favorite of the value resorts. Is that correct?
Yes, it is. I like it a lot. He's just got a practical mind, which is so awesome because it keeps me grounded. But he's exactly right on this one. It's the reason he loves it so much is in the value category. is because it has what is it? It's the closest to the
To the
parks.
Yeah, it's the last bus stop.
It's the last bus stop.
And the first one.
And the first one that picks up and the last one.
No, the last one that picks up, the first one that drops off.
Last one to pick up and the first one to drop off. So, you've been at Epcot all night long and you're wore out and you're riding a bus. Well, guess what? You're going to be first to be taken care of when you get to Pop Century.
And Sarah said that's where they stayed most recently.
At Pop Century. Yeah. We stay
Great
there.
lobby, too.
Yes, they have a beautiful lobby. I want to do a whole thing on just lobbies. Does that sound weird? I don't know, but I love a good lobby. I love sitting in the lobby. We have a room in our home that we've about called it the hotel lobby because it really doesn't serve any purpose other than just to kind of it's like a transition area, and so you just sit there and kind of wait till I don't know something else happens, and it's really fun. So, but anyway, getting back to Pop Century as these pictures have rolled through here. Pop Century is based on the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s decades, and each group there's a group of hotels, or excuse me, there's a group of rooms or wings, I guess is the right way to say it, and one will be themed the 50s, and it'll have I think I've got a picture in here of the 50s, and one will be themed to the 60s, one the 70s, one the 80s. I think this Rubik's Cubes is from the 80s. The 80s, I believe. The Rubik's Cube came in. There's a looks like about a 64 Stingray, so that's in the 60s, and then of course the yo-yo, so that's the 60s. Now this little thing right here, where I've got 1983, the last that talked about MASH. I love this part of this park. Each resort all across Disney World has they all have weight rooms, workout rooms, and they usually have I may be wrong, but I believe all of them have a running path or walking or running path that goes throughout the park. Well, at Pop Century, they have their running path goes all around their Pop Century. It also gives in and around something called Art of Animation, which we will do next week. We're going to talk about Art of Animation separately, which is really neat. And I'll talk about that part of it when Art of Animation. But throughout Pop Century's little running trail, they have these little signs all throughout. They start with the 50s and they work all the way up through the 90s. I think I'd said the 80s earlier, but it's actually the 90s. With these fun little trivia facts about things that happened in the decades. And I love that. It's shaded and it kind of gives you something to look forward to. You're running, or in my case, it's become more like jogging, fast walking. But you're like, okay, what's the next sign? It's like these markers that help you mark off your time. And I just really enjoy that. I had recommended, had a group go last September, or maybe, it was in this past September, and they're really into fitness, and there was a couple of places that we were considering, but I had mentioned to them that this was one that I enjoyed for that reason, because it had this very interesting running trail. I just enjoyed that. All of them have running trails, but I enjoy theirs very much for that reason. They have a really cool entrance. I love the way that you enter into it, and again, the whole lobby area is really awesome. So there's just a few things to think about with regard to values. Don't let people throw them totally under the bus. You'll hear people talk about them. Oh, they're so small. They are on the small side. The rooms are. However, if you're going to a value resort, I doubt if it's, you're probably not going to be spending a whole lot of time in your room. So there's an upside to staying at values. There's certainly nothing wrong with it. Actually, we like to extend our vacations sometime when we go down there. If we're staying in a nicer place, more often than not, we will stay a night or two at the front end of our vacation in a value resort, and then go on to our nicer resort for the rest of our stay. But it makes for it extends our time there for not a whole lot of money, and it's still wonderful and pleasant. Excuse me. Excuse me, sorry about that. For not a lot. Also, by the way, little tip there. Disney, if you do something like that, if you need to, let's say you're going to a park and you're going to be in a park, but you've stayed the previous night in one hotel, whether it be a value resort or whatever, And if you want them to, they will move your luggage to your new resort. So that's just something fun to know about. And then you get to try different places. Some people will stay in more than two resorts on one vacation, for either because they just want to have a change of pace, or they maybe can only get the rooms for those times, or they just want to add on to their vacation for not a whole lot of money. And that's what we have done many times. It's nice. So, what have I left out? I think we have talked a lot about value resorts. They're a wonderful option. I recommend them. There's lots of upsides to staying in a value resort. So, and it's Disney. Come on. They're going to do value resorts the Disney way. So they're going to be awesome. So I will move on a little bit from that. There's a couple things to think about. Next week will be the 17th, Monday the 17th, and I will be broadcasting. I hope you plan now to be with us. Make sure to turn on your notifications. That's one thing we had talked about earlier, so that when you'll be reminded of when we're coming up and when we're going live. Those of you who are catching us on the replay, we're so glad you're here. Please make sure to like and also share this and mention that you're here on with us. Is there anyone else that has
Website.
Oh yeah, make sure to check out our website, www.disneytravelcoach.com, and shoot us a message. Let us know when you're planning on going to Disney World and how we can help you with that. A couple more things to that's coming up. So next week's the 17th, as I mentioned before. We will be broadcasting. However, the next week is the Christmas Eve, so I won't be live broadcasting. We'll do something special. I'm going to be doing some other fun little things too through that holiday time. So just be on the lookout for that.
Girls trip.
Pardon?
Girls trip.
Yes, I mentioned it last week. The girls trip, March. We will be staying in probably a moderate resort that I'm going to be giving you some more information about here coming up. If that's something you're remotely interested in, we'll be there during the garden festival. So if that's anything that you're even remotely interested in, let me know. Shoot me a line or mention that in the comments, or send me a Facebook message or whatever to let me know. We'll have limited availability. It'll be based on double occupancy. So grab your girlfriend. And this is just all girls, and we'll have everything planned for you from soup to nuts. Nothing that it'll be I'll be going and taking you everywhere anything that you need or anything you're interested in. We'll be sure to get that. There'll also be some exclusives that the only place you'll get is by going through a Magical Traveler with us down on this trip. So I've got some really fun things planned for that. And I pray that this week you will be so aware of God's presence in your life and how He is working in your life and how much He loves you and what a wonderful future He's got planned for you. And we will see you next Monday, and we'll also be making plans for the 19th for the opening of Mary Poppins Returns. So we'll do a meetup, and we'll talk more about that next Monday. But until then, we will see you, and stay magical in everything you do this week. Bye.